Hello, welcome. So today we're going to look at r/am I the bort hole? I have to be a little bit quieter today if you're wondering why I sound less energetic. My youngest has only just gone to sleep, and let me tell you now, it is 11 o'clock at night. Help. So, in efforts to avoid waking them up again, I am going to keep my voice down. So enjoy a more calmer, relaxed vibe today, hopefully. If that does sound like something you're into, then please do stick around and enjoy. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Thank you. Okie dokie, first post. Am I the butthole for telling a guy to shut up during an interview? I was interviewing this guy for a very good software engineering position. He passed the first round, and both I and everyone involved in the second round really liked his resume and experience. On paper, he had everything we were looking for, and honestly, this looked like a life-changing opportunity for him. Then he shows up, very serious, and not smiling at all. I'm used to that in tech interviews, and I understand it can be an intimidating environment. Yeah, I mean, any job where you go for an interview and there's a panel of interviewers, pretty intimidating. We did a round of introductions, and then he opened the interview by saying, "Let me tell you a little about myself." We said, "Okay, go for it." He started talking about his personal and professional background. After about 3 minutes, I jumped in to ask a follow-up question based on something he mentioned. He replied, "I will answer, just give me a moment," and continued talking. Oh, okay. A co-worker jumped in with another question, and he said the same thing to her. At this point, we were kind of looking at each other, but decided to let him continue and give him the benefit of the doubt. But after more than 5 minutes, I jumped in again with another question. I had to talk over him to do it. He finally paused and answered, but in such a long-winded way that he ended up veering into another topic. Honestly, sounds like me and my mate when we get together for a coffee, to be fair. There's no end to the, subjects of conversation. They just weirdly form into something else. It's very strange. And we never actually finish a topic that we're talking about either. I don't know. It's weird. It's a very strange dynamic of conversation. At this point, I was ready to end the interview. My co-worker asked another question, and the same thing happened. At this point, I was ready to end the interview. I tried to politely wrap it up several times, but he was unable to read the room and just kept talking. I finally raised my voice slightly and said something like, "Thank you very much for sharing your background. In the interest of time, I'd like to ask you if you have any questions for us." That was probably a bad thing to ask, because I bet he does. This is standard protocol and helps us prepare answers for the future interviews. He asked a question about the team. As I was answering, he raised his finger and interrupted to talk more about his background. I'm sorry, but that whole when someone raises their finger to interrupt you, I think is the rudest thing ever. And I would just be like, get out. This is also why I'm not trusted with interviewing people, I suppose. I let it go. Then he asked another question, which my co-worker started to answer. But again, he spoke over her to talk about himself. I tried once more to interrupt politely, but he kept talking. At that point, I was done. I said, "John, you really have to shut up and listen." He was surprised, as was my co-worker, but he finally stopped talking. I continued. "You walked into this room with a 99% chance of getting the job. Now that chance is 0. The only reason is because in less than 15 minutes, you've demonstrated that you don't have the capacity to listen at all. So, I'm telling you now, you're not getting the job. But if you take anything away from this interview, let it be this. No matter how good you are technically, if you can't listen, you'll never excel in this career." He apologized and said, "Can we start again?" I replied, "You had your chance. Best of luck in your future interviews. Make sure you listen." Looking back, I know I could have handled that differently, But I still feel bad for the guy. I don't really, because I mean, it's a teaching moment for him, isn't it? I suppose he's going to learn that, yeah, if you're going for a job, don't be rude, don't interrupt, talk about yourself and be confident, yes, but don't come off as a complete arrogant twat waffle. You'll probably be fine. So, down in the comments, Billy J Jersey 505 says, you actually gave him more feedback than many people would have, not the butthole. And then Cultural Itachi 5678 says, so true. I wish I could get some feedback in my interviews. Of course, I don't want it to be shut up. LOL. And then Tony Ray 20 says, you actually showed more patience than most of us would have. And your direct feedback might help him more than silence ever would. It's not rude to draw the line when someone refuses to listen, especially in a professional setting. Yeah, and he was quite rude about it as well. It wasn't just that he was like word vomiting because he's nervous. He was like actually quite arrogant and rude. So I feel he needed to learn that lesson for future. You've probably helped him, to be fair. Next post, am I the butthole for kicking my mother out for throwing away my son's baking things because she believes that baking is only for girls? Don't even need to read the post to tell you that I think that you are not the butthole, to be quite fair, and the mother-in-law is a massive gaping butthole. My 14-year-old son loves to bake, and he is really good at it too. He started with simple things like cookies, but now he can bake just about anything from bread to pies, even cakes. Sometimes friends and people we know will ask him to bake them something, and he will charge them a small fee. My mother has always hated the fact that my son loves baking. Your mother is an idiot. She doesn't understand what kind of boy enjoys doing things that are meant for girls. Making sustenance is only for women? What? What does she expect the poor lad to do when he moves out and inevitably has a certain amount of time living on his own? You know? Ironically, his younger sister hates baking. I tried explaining to my mother that there's nothing wrong with my son's love for baking and that she's being sexist, but my mother is stubborn and always makes sure to mention just how much she doesn't approve of it at every chance she gets. The first time she shat on my son's hobby because of his gender, for God's sake, would be the last time she ever had a chance to have an opinion on it. She would have been told there and then, keep your thoughts to yourself or never come over again. She was visiting us for a few days and I came home from work to find my son distraught. When I asked him what's going on, he told me that he came back from a friend's house only to find that his baking things had disappeared. When he asked his grandma, she just said that now he can find a new appropriate hobby. Wow. Oh, I would flip my lid. I really would. He has a specific kitchen cabinet where he stores all his baking things. And sure enough, it was empty. They weren't in the trash either. I asked my mother what she did with my son's things, and she proudly told me that she got rid of them because I was clearly not going to do anything about it, and that I was a bad father for allowing it to go on as long as it did. The only way this dad has fucked up is allowing his mother to go on as long as she has. Like, excuse me? These were approximately $200 worth of items collected over a period of time. Hand mixer, scale, measuring things, pans, etc. I told her that the only thing that I have allowed to go on way too long is the constant disrespect for my son. Yes, I'm glad you can see that. That's good. That is good. And that she needs to apologise to him and either bring back his things right now or replace them. She stubbornly said that she is not going to do that, so I told her that first thing in the morning she needs to leave, and she's not allowed back here or around my children until she learns to respect their choices. She huffed and puffed all night long and left in the morning. I mean, you're far more gracious than I am because she'd have been out on her ass that night. She was originally supposed to leave on Sunday, the day after my son's birthday. She even took the gift that she had bought him and left with it. My stepdad called me to let me know that just what a piece of crap he thinks I am for treating my mother this way and kicking her out like some random stranger. I'd tell him where to swing it and all. I told him that she did this to herself and hung up. Absolutely. And I mean, what is her problem? Look at the amount of men that have actually risen to like fame and fortune through cooking, baking, you know? A lot of blokes have made a huge career from cooking and baking. Is she fucking dense? I mean, yes. The answer is yes, obviously. So let's see what the comments have to say, shall we? But I'm pretty sure we all know what they say. Cy Magus quotes the OP saying these were approximately $200 worth of items collected over a period of time. That is actual theft, causing you actual material loss. Just saying, not the butthole. And then Disastrous B 1557 says, if she's not willing to return or replace the supplies, then I say take her to small claims court and get reimbursed. And then Desert Boots says, son might enjoy the process. Let him decide. Yeah, he might do, to be fair. I don't know how easy it is to do small claims court wherever you are. If the mother would end up paying all the fees, like legal fees, because I think that's how it works here. If you take someone to court to try and get money back for something that they've done, like stolen or whatever, you can usually ask for the other person to pay all the court fees as well, obviously apart from your own lawyer, I think. I don't know. I've never taken anyone to small claims court. Don't know if you can tell. So I'm not sure how it works. But yeah, I mean, if it would work and it wouldn't cost you an arm and a leg, I mean, go for it. Next post, am I the butthole for asking my future in-laws for money? I just scared the shite out of myself, if you're wondering why I sounded so weird then. It's because I jumped, and I'm not re-recording it, because I've already recorded that title about 3 times now. The door, one of my kids' doors is shut. They're not here, they're at their dad's, and the door just started rattling. The windows are open, it is the wind, but it scared the bloody life out of me. My fiance's parents are loaded, old money loaded. They can afford what I'm asking, no problem. I make very good money at my job. I'm currently 27 and earn over $170,000 USD a year. Okay, I don't know the exchange rate, but that still sounds like a hell of a lot. Tim is a teacher. He doesn't make as much, but he has a trust fund, so he works sort of as public service. It's big in his family. Recently, I had a weird conversation with him and his folks. They think after the wedding I should quit working and be a stay-at-home mum. I thought they were joking and kind of laughed. They are perfectly serious. They think it's emasculating that I earn more than Tim. I mean, Tim could go and get qualified in something and go and get himself a higher earning job if it's that much of a problem. I love it when rich people have no idea how the world actually works. So yeah, OP leaves their really well-paying job to be a stay-at-home mum and have none of their own money, no financial security, no way of leaving, or no way of actually supporting themselves if Tim leaves. Yeah, great idea. It's funny, isn't it, though? Because people who are rich, and especially old money rich, they have no idea how us paupers live. Like, they have no idea what it feels like to not have money in your hand. They don't understand. They're like, oh, just go and take some money out of your bank. The money will magically be there. No, that's not how that works. I wish it was. Over the course of my career, I will earn much more than him, but his trust fund is low 7 figures. He could afford to pay me what I earn yearly, but he can't due to the stipulations of his trust. His mum, on the other hand, has lots of interest built up in her trust. So, I offered a solution I thought was fair. They set up an unrecoverable trust for me. They must contribute my gross earnings yearly with bumps for anticipated raises and promotions. The deposits would be for the next 35 years. That was if I'm a stay-at-home mum, Tim is the breadwinner, and I'm protected in the case of divorce. Yes, and I bet they hated that idea, didn't they? They went fucking nuts. Apparently I'm ridiculous for thinking they will give me money. I offered a compromise. I sign a prenup wherein I am entitled to half of Tim's trust fund in the case of divorce if I give up my career. Love it. Also not acceptable to them. I'm kind of at a loss. Do they honestly think I would give up my career with zero safety net? No, they honestly think that you're just going to give in to them and be their skivvy because they are used to getting their own way. My mum says I'm being kind of rude putting everything in such stark monetary terms. I think I'm being reasonable. What do you think? I am on your side wholeheartedly, because these people are insane if they think you should leave such a well-paying job to be Tim's little homely wife and have absolutely no safety net. No, they literally just want you to be their skivvy. I really honestly think if you left your job, they would have you running about as if you're their personal assistant. I genuinely do. And they will then know that you are completely under Tim's thumb because, well, where else are you going to go? You've got nothing. So let's have a see what the comments say, shall we? Informalass6646 says, old money is weird. They live by their own rules. They are not worried about divorce because you are a possession to show off, like a nice car or a watch. Yeah, exactly. If Tim gets tired of you later, you should feel blessed he let you enjoy this time with his family. He did. I work with a lot of these families, and it's wild how they actually view people. They will do charities and say nice things to the public to keep up appearances. Yeah, and usually because they're told to by some PR rep. It's not off their own back either. But you just got a first-hand experience of what the true behind-the-scenes conversations look like. Don't quit your job. If they have a problem with it, ensure the trust is set up in your name. And then Super X Atomic Kitten says, yes, this. Nobody feels more entitled than the rich. Honestly. Like, quite often I fantasize about what it would have been like if I'd have been born into a rich family. But then I also think, wow, I would have been a massive knobhead probably. Next post, am I the butthole for dumping dinner in the trash and asking my family not to stay at my place again? My family is visiting for a couple of days, my brother, his wife, and their 2 kids. I tried to be a good host and cooked a nice dinner for everyone on their last evening here, even though I had a busy day at work. For context, my house has an open floor plan, so we are all in the same area. I let everyone know that dinner was ready, but no one came to the table. I thought maybe they hadn't heard me because the TV was on, so I repeated myself, but still got no response. I went ahead and made my plate and sat down to eat. Meanwhile, my brother's wife was watching Facebook videos, my brother was watching football, and their kids were playing video games. Surely there's no way they didn't hear you. And if they heard you and just completely blanked you, how friggin' rude! Oh my goodness! I'd have started throwing little bits of vegetables at them until they finally got fed up and paid, notice. I'd just be like, oh, I'm so sorry. I just thought that you may be, not real because I spoke and you completely blanked me. I was worried you were a figment of my imagination. When I finished eating, I picked up my plate and asked if anyone was going to eat. My brother got up and went to smoke outside. The kids kept ignoring me, and his wife just gestured that she was busy. Do they want a salad on their head? Because that's how you get a salad on your head. After 20 minutes, the food was cold, so I threw it away. I wished them good night and told them I wasn't their servant and that the least they could do was acknowledge the effort that someone was putting into cooking for them. No, the least they could do was acknowledge you even spoke. I'm baffled. I also told my brother that he wasn't welcome to stay at my place again. Edit, I had cooked fried fish. It doesn't reheat well. I didn't want my house to smell bad either. It doesn't matter. I'm guessing some people in the comments were like, oh, well, why didn't you just leave it out so they could get it and reheat it when they wanted it? That's not the point. The point is they were absolutely rude. And why should the OP leave the food out for them if they can't even do them the courtesy of acknowledging that they spoke? No, I'd be chucking it away too. Actually, I lie. I'd be throwing it at them. Edit 2.0. The family eats fish. And a few days ago, my brother mentioned he missed Mum's old fried fish recipe, so I decided to cook it for them. So, down in the comments, Rendine says, not the butthole. The next time your brother wants to visit, respond, great. Where will you be staying? We will have to get together for dinner while you're in town. This line was quickly taught to me by my co-workers when I transferred to Las Vegas. Everyone I had ever met was tracking me down, looking for a free place to stay. Oh, I bet. They quickly had other plans when they realised my doors were closed. And then the OP says, "That's a great idea." Yeah, funny, isn't it? When people realise they can't just use you like a hotel and a personal maid, they don't want to know. Last post then for today. Am I the butthole for breaking up with my new girlfriend because her ex, who is her friend, needs to get used to the idea of us dating? Okay, so my new girlfriend introduced me to a friend group, including the ex. Admittedly, I never felt entirely comfortable with my now ex being friends with this guy. He acted weird when my ex introduced me. I thought it was me at first. However, my ex explained that her ex told her that he needs time to adjust to her dating me, and told me that she was going to try to limit our interaction. I asked her to clarify. I asked her if she's gonna not see him, but she told me not exactly, but she was gonna try to keep me and him apart. To be honest, when I heard how apparently she's gonna actively make her friend comfortable like this, I felt a punch in the stomach. I told her I do not feel comfortable with her being friends with a guy who needs to adjust to us dating, and that we weren't gonna work out. She tried to convince me that there's nothing going on between them, but I didn't believe. I mean, what the F is there to adjust to if they are platonic friends? I mean, yeah, definitely, I agree. I wouldn't feel comfortable either, I don't think, and if it was a new relationship, I'd just be like, this is a red flag, that there is going to be far more drama here than I am willing to put up with. So then down in the comments, Old Searcher says, obviously her priorities are effed up. She is still tied to him, so good for you for walking. And then Pitiful Share 9453 says, facts. She chose to stay tied to a mess and clearly showed where her head's at. Sometimes walking away is the only move that makes sense. No point sticking around when someone's showing you their true colours like that. Respect to her for dipping. Yeah, it just seems like way too much hassle. I don't put up with drama and crap like that. I just be like, yeah, if you want to pander to this friend and their little flapping around, goodbye. Okay, so I think that's all we've got time for today. If you listened all the way to the end, then I appreciate you very, very much. If you leave a little like and subscribe, turn notifications on, that's your initiation into the cult of void. Welcome. It's great here. It's all sparkly and dark. Whatever it is you're doing for the day, I hope you have a really good rest of your day. Goodbye.